What do you need to do to be a good person? To be what we want to be, we need to acquire the skills to be that. Skills are divided into 3 areas: knowledge, skills, and attitudes. This means that if we want to be a good person, we need to know how to work with and enjoy the good, but we change slowly and take only one step at a time. Bringing role models like Jesus, Gandhi, and Martin Luther King and expecting to be like them means little, although role models are undoubtedly excellent and vital and can give us clues as to what it means to be a good person. We need to investigate what good is, not just what we think is good, but what we know is good. And we need to distinguish between the two. There are different ideas about what good is, but it is related to virtues, morality, happiness, well-being, and the purpose of life in some way. Ethics is about understanding what the good is and how we approach it. In fact, many religions do so too. I briefly trace the ideas of ethics, which quickly shows why we get confused in the space when we consider the good. Some philosophical views oppose each other, but the value of the good is still sought after in all of them. We need help understanding possible paths. Utilitarianism suggests that the best practice is the most beneficial, leading to the greatest happiness and reducing suffering. In short, if any action increases the happiness of the majority of people, then it is considered good. The question is, what if what increases the happiness of the majority of people increases the discontent, unhappiness, and suffering of the minority? Can it still be the best way? The obligatory ideal is that good is achieved by moral rules or laws, such as justice or honesty, regardless of the outcome. So, if we follow moral laws, then what we do must be good. This means that we must make a clear distinction between law and morality, and realize that morality is a criterion that the law must follow, and not vice versa. Thus, Nazi actions were legal within the German state, but morally incorrect, and the person who understands morality understands why it was not suitable to be a Nazi. In contrast, a citizen with a legal background might have had a more difficult time if he valued the law more than morality. Virtue ethics is another policy where we try to understand our moral values and the associated virtues. One of these values might be courage, another justice, another wisdom. But virtue is about acting by these virtues and values in everything we do. When we get used to such virtuous behavior, like being courageous and wise in everything we do, we move in the right direction, in the good, and become more daring, more just, and more discerning, which is good. Existentialism is another pole in the hill, where the theory revolves around the idea that every human does what he or she considers to be good and right. The point is that we are free people, and what we do shapes who we are. We act in different ways in different situations, but it is good enough to do what we consider reasonable and proper. This means that if we make a wrong decision, but after a good thought, we are still doing what is good and right, simply because this is our decision. The treaty theory is that we humans make a treaty with each other about how we want to live our lives. But this treaty is a law and a code that we draw up to live in harmony and harmony. The fundamental idea is that we want to move towards a peaceful world where things are in order. There is no distinction between moral law and law. What is good is to follow this and righteous law in everything we do. On the other hand, the human being is not perfect. It doesn't necessarily know whether it is following moral law or law, even though it believes it is doing so. Then the social corruption of politicians can corrupt the law, but still cannot touch the moral law. So this idea may be more distant than it initially seems. The theory of natural law then argues that the laws of nature maintain order in the world, and everything we should do should be by these laws. Having tried to live by this, but still experience the natural disasters that have taken my life after a hurricane, floods, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions, I am not convinced that the laws of nature have anything to do with morality, nor whether we should shape our morality based on the laws of nature. How do I shape my morality based on the law of gravity, the law of inertia, or other such laws? It can be challenging to understand such connections. Since then, it has become evident that what some consider natural or normal, others think to be contrary to nature or our nature. What will be good and right in such a world? I value virtue ethics more than all the other ways because it helps you, through practical means, become an ever-improving human being.